Domestic violence to me is someone who has some real insecurities, so they have to be overpowering and dominant over another person.
Domestic violence crosses all socioeconomic strata, regardless of race, ethnicity, color, national origin. It does not matter. It's across the board. It impacts all of society.
What does domestic violence look like to you?
I think domestic violence is the abuse of someone by someone who they see close to them or who is a part of their family.
I think people are aware of domestic violence, but I think they're too accepting of it. I think they need to be more reactive so that the people who are the violators, the abusers, are stopped. They have more of a conscience about it if people speak up more and it's not swept under the rug or hidden or denied that it happens.
Unfortunately, they're not as aware as they should be. However, because of recent incidents that have come to light, the public is more aware through the news media, through the newsprint, some tragic situations regarding violence related to children, related to high-profile individuals. And it's a sad state of affairs that something like that has to happen to make people aware. I have. I worked with the state of New Mexico and with Adult Protective Services and as a social worker, caseworker. I've unfortunately come across domestic violence between an elderly couple. And this is a common occurrence that we work with on a day-to-day basis.
Sadly, I have.
What did you do?
I was young. I was really young. I think I was 15, 16 years old, and it was against a family member. I remember just screaming and yelling at the person to stop, and two other family members intervened, physically removing him from the situation. And it was very hard to watch that someone in my family would allow that to happen to them, but it was good to see that other people were willing to jump in and stop it.
Would you do anything differently now if you had been put in that same situation?
If I would have known better at the time, I probably would have insisted that the police be called and a record be started against this person, and maybe even then getting some help, some treatment for their anger issues.
Do you feel that the treatment helps? The treatment might help?
I think it would have helped him. He's a different person now. I'm still aware of him out in the community, and he's very different now. At the time, he was a very different, very, very angry person. So I think it would have helped him had he gotten help sooner. I think depending on how public it is, I would probably be one of those that would speak up. I would be loud, I would be vocal, and I would hope that I would call the police in between everything else. But I think people get into a mob mentality, and if you start people in the direction of helping and assisting, other people will follow. Nobody wants to be the first person to step up, but when they see somebody else do it, they're willing to join in. So I would probably be that person.
I know I would try to do something as soon as possible. Knowing how much my father and my brother would argue, I would always want to do something and step up if it ever got to anything further. And I would always think about how I'd react, so I just know that I would try to say something and just get it to end, and if that doesn't do anything, then call the cops right away and just get it over.
There's no doubt in my mind that I would intervene by first verbally asking the couple or whomever is the abuser to stop, and then take immediate action by calling law enforcement.
I think people would react to a male abusing a female a lot sooner and with a lot more force to it. They would react quicker and stronger than if it was a female abusing a male. I feel like people would just view the male as being weak, or they would make fun of him or just laugh at it, or they would even just start taking videos of it, of the female abusing the male. And I think if it's the same gender, people might just think it's a dispute and not domestic violence.
I think people react much more strongly to a man abusing a woman, and much more quickly. It's a much more reactive situation. And I believe if a woman is abusing a man, immediately people assume that he's kind of a wimp, doesn't have very much power, and it's actually laughable if a woman's able to push him around and abuse him. They don't see him as a victim. They see him as weak. And if it's the same gender, I think people would just think it's a disagreement between friends and be even less apt to react to it in a way that, that it was wrong. They would just feel like it was just two friends arguing.
What do you think people assume of a male being abused by a female being abused by a male, or of people of the same gender?
I think that people sometimes assume that a male abusing a female is okay when it's not okay. As far as a female abusing a male, some of society may think that the male's weak. However, regardless, there's no cause for anyone to lay hands on either one. No, cut. It's also not okay for same sex to be abusive towards each other. People need to respect each other. And again, as far as society is concerned, there probably is a sense that it's okay for same sex to be abusive towards each other. However, it's never okay. End of story, period. Don't abuse.